What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Ghost checking in as always. OAM. Joining us here on today's show, Olivier Aubin-Mercier is going to be headlining PFL 10, and that's coming up here. It's their championships. All 6 titles are on the line. He'll be facing Klay Collard. That's Friday, November 24th, Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Who knows? Maybe OAM's best day ever and Klay Collard's worst day ever. We don't know, and that's why we have to tune in. And of course, this is a pay-per-view, but they stacked the card. You guys will really, really like it. Also, the return of Kayla Harrison. How are you, OAM?
I'm good, and you guys?
Doing great. I don't know if you want to share what you shared with us privately. It's up to you. But big changes in your life, and but let's go back to when we started this
I feel
earlier.
that it's better to keep it secret. Everybody is like, "What were they talking about now?" And it's like a big mystery.
Yeah, you might have got a new PS5 for all people know, or a new
Yeah,
car. Who knows,
exactly.
right?
Maybe.
It's up to
Yeah, maybe
you.
it's the PS5. That's the reason why I was late to the interview.
Hey, yeah, you playing a little bit of Call of Duty or something, lost track of time. That's fine. Earlier this year, I don't know if you remember, you told us, I almost didn't want to do it. Like I don't know if it was the motivation or just 4 weight cuts or what. I don't know if you recall, but are you glad, or was it as brutal as you thought it would be? I mean, of course, it might be an easy answer. We're already here at the finals,
Mhm.
$1 million back to back. But tell me, man, tell me about that decision and how much it weighed on you throughout the year.
Well, like I said, it was a hard decision to take, and I took the decision to do it because of the PS4. I wanted to upgrade to the PS5, so I said to myself, "It's the last year. It's the last year, and then I can play with my PS5 all day long." So that's the reason I did it this year, and it was brutal, but I think this year was a lot smarter. Last year, I think last year was great, but I tweaked some stuff in my training camp, and I feel so much better than last year. Last year was brutal, and this year it is brutal, but not as much. Uh, and I do feel you can see it during training. So I'm really happy with this year. Actually, it's demanding mentally, but I'm still there, and I'm looking forward for the next one.
First things first, you got Klay Collard coming up, but perhaps you can recall this conversation next year when you have to decide whether you want to get into the tournament or not. It was easier than the year before, but it was still taxing. But
Yeah, let's
um,
see if there's a PS6 coming out.
tell me about Klay Collard. This guy's fights are very exciting. He's very talented with his hands. He was on our show prior to you, gave you a lot of respect. He goes, I got to keep them big, strong Canadian hands off me. How about you? If you were to flip around and say something about him, what would you give him credit for in terms of maybe something you need to look out for?
Well, it's kind of the same with Clay Collar. He's a great opponent. It's a great volume, fast hand. His stuff is crazy. It's I really think he's one of the should be one of the biggest name in PFL. Every fight he gave, it's crazy. It's craziness. The last fight he gave with Shane Burgos was one of the best fight of the year, if not the best fight of the year. So it's always entertaining to train to fight a guy like this. And like I said, uh, like the guy have a big mouth, and but he's likable, and I do think he's really good for PFL. It's pretty funny because like I said, I mean, he talked a lot, but I really like the guy. I truly like him. He made me laugh, and my family and some friend of mine almost got into a fight like 2 fights ago with his family. I think with his uncle. Uh, and I love
Wow.
this story. I
Share
really
the
love
story.
it.
What happened?
I don't know. I think I was getting headbutt by Anthony Romero, and they were stopping the fight. and I think his uncle said something, screamed something to me, something maybe not as nice. And my friend, my friend who is a MMA fighter, he fought in TKO. He actually fought Poirier at some point, but I I think there was an exchange of word and of word, and that's it. I think the uncle told my friend to sit down if you don't want him to make him sit down.
Wow. I wonder if the uncle knew who your friend was. You
Yeah,
know.
it was Derek Gauthier, a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
The guy was called, when he was fighting, the guy was called Sex Machine. His nickname was Sex Machines.
Ah. All right.
So it's I love the story. The uncle of Clay Colored and Sex Machine almost getting into a fight.
Yeah. Maybe the
So
sex machine would have had him crying uncle.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, but it's funny because my girlfriend saw the uncle and I think the wife, and they were really nice. It's all good, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a funny story, and I kind of understand the uncle. Is Clay Collard is fighting the same day, and then you see the other Canadian, the douchebag Canadian, fighting, and for sure you're gonna
Mhm.
take the side of Clay Collard. And you know what, sport, that's sport. If you're a fan, you're allowed to hate on people that are against your team or your favorite fighter. So it's all understandable.
This is true. You paid your ticket. You can boo. You can cheer.
Yeah.
Fan is short for fanatic. So yeah, some of them can be fanatical as long as you don't touch anyone or hurt the athletes. Do what
Yeah,
you
it's
got to
only
do.
fair. I think it's fair. I mean, they pay for a ticket, so they can do whatever they want if they don't touch me. Of course,
Hmm. OAM. It's funny because Clay was telling us that at a previous event, I think he said a weigh-in or something like that. You guys were near
I know
each
what
other.
you're gonna talk about.
And he was so pumped up and ready. He says, I love it, man. I soak it up. He goes, but OAM, he's calm. And that I guess you guys had a little exchange and that you even told him, man, I'm the opposite of you, like you're, you have some nerves or whatever. You recall that?
Yeah, no, I remember exactly what he's talking about, and that's what I'm saying. The guy is likable. And I was seeing him like backstage, like pump up, really happy of doing the way in and everything's like, I love this shit. I love this shit. And I was like, oh yeah, you like it. I find it so awkward. It's like it's so useless. I understand for the show it's good, but I find it awkward to look at the other guy like in the eye and like try to play this game of like, I'm tougher, bro, we're gonna fight tomorrow. Like, I understand for the show, but all that is useless in my mind. So, but like I said, he's likable, and I was like, I thought it was funny to see him like so pumped up. I was like, bro, I think maybe I should be a little bit more like you, for the show, for everything. Yeah, I think it would be better for PFL. But yeah, I remember what he was talking about.
You might feel like it's useless, and obviously we're all entitled to our opinion, but I'll give you an example. Goes and I used to host our show at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas in the sports book. And you don't know how many times there would be fans there that are sports fans watching other sports. But if ESPN or Fox or whoever showed a highlight and two fighters were staring, all it took was just that push. And then people would be like, oh, you'd hear the reaction, right? Because there's a lot of people there. And the first thing they'd want to know is, when is that fight? So there is something to that moment, I guess. Now, I'm not saying, hey, break out the bottles and all that. No, I'm not saying all that.
Yeah.
But just a good stare down and a push and someone having to act like Ray Suffo having to act like they're separating, it creates a little bit of intrigue. And I think it comes down to that animalistic fibers we all carry. We're like, oh man, something's about to go down. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, if two fighters stare, shake hands, and then turn around, yeah, it doesn't cause any intrigue or curiosity. But something about you come a little bit close, man, it brings something out in people. We've seen it.
Yeah, maybe I was not clear. But like I said, it's useful for the show, but it's useless, let's say, for me or for my opponent. I
Got it.
don't see the point for me of doing that. But for the show, it's the best thing, and that's why I say like Clay Color, it's perfect for PFL. He's all pumped up. Like I should maybe be a little bit more like him. Uh, but yeah.
Could just to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that. I can understand why that's probably not your favorite moment of fighting, but what about fighting itself? Is that something that can you maybe share with us how you felt? I don't know if you fell in love with fighting or if you like it. Guys like Nick Diaz have been kind of vocal in saying they actually don't like fighting. They're
Mhm.
good at it, but they don't really enjoy it. Where do you stand on all that?
Um, it's a tough. I don't know how to express myself with that, like even in French. But it's a tough question. I like to fight. I like to train. I like to try stuff. But the fighting itself in front of people, I'm not sure if I like it. I like it when it's done, when I won. For sure, I like it. But the moment before, I'm not sure I like it. And when I say that, like I don't disdain it too. I feel that I have less feeling than before. So when I go in the cage, I'm really calm now. Before I had a lot of anxiety, and it's not there anymore. And like the butterfly that you feel, I feel it a little bit, but not like I used to. So it's not the same as before. I don't know why. It's maybe because I should start thinking about retiring, because it's not normal. With that being said, I feel comfortable in the cage. I feel calm. I feel comfortable. Uh, for sure, I have some doubt. Like every fighter, I have some doubt, but still, it's not the same thing as before. Uh, but yeah, I don't think I like it, but I don't hate it either. You know, I
Hmm.
don't like the weight cut. Uh, I don't like the interview. To do a lot of interview. I don't like the way in. It's a for me. It's a waste of time. I would prefer like to eat at my place. So all of that, I don't truly like it. But the fight itself, I don't hate. But I don't like it either. So it's more a neutral emotion, I would say.
Hmm.
Which before I had a lot of anxiety, and it's not the same anymore.
You brought up retirement, right? And I wanted to clarify one thing earlier in the interview. I know that maybe doing another season is something that you probably wouldn't want to do. But what about just one-off fights or pay-per-view fights? Is it just fighting in general that you may be ready to walk away from, or is it more the season format?
No, fighting in general. Yeah, fighting in general. It's I love PFL. I love the format of PFL, but to fight 8 times in 2 years, it's a lot, and it's really demanding. And at least I need some vacation. And I do feel like right now I do feel I never been as good as right now. And maybe it's one of the reasons why I feel a little bit bad of going away. But I need at least a year, and I don't know if in a year the motivation is going to be there, and if I'm going to be as good as right now. And if I don't feel I'm the best version of myself, I won't bother coming back. So let's wait a little bit, and let's see what PFL say. I would like to fight in Montreal, that's for sure, and I think that could be the only reason why I would maybe think again to fight maybe one more time. Um, just fight in front of my people. Uh, but like right now, I need I need the money, but I need a reason to, and I need my friends on the card. I think that's my three the three thing I need to for me to fight one more time.
You might lay down the gloves after your fight with Collard. Is that a possibility?
Oh yeah, I think there's more chance that I'm done after this fight than I'm not done.
Wow. Okay. The thought of another $1 million and a historical third in a row, that's not enough to sway you if you get past Collard.
No, I have a lot of PS5 time to wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A
Hey,
lot
this
of
is a tough
games.
one because this is a question maybe for thought. I think we all regard GSP as the greatest Canadian fighter ever. Would you agree?
But I don't see someone else even close to him.
Would you be number two if you can beat Collard after
Uh,
you have
I
like 10
wouldn't.
wins in the UFC? You've had almost 10, I think 10 wins in PFL, 2 back-to-back titles. If you can beat Collard, that's an impressive resume. Would you say you're number two greatest ever?
Well, I think I'm up there, but I don't know if I'm number two. I think that's up to the fans to decide. But I think Rory McDonald is really really hard to beat. To be honest,
Mhm.
so I would put Rory before me.
Okay. Well, that's very respectful. It's a good one.
But
It's a tough one
that's how
because
I feel. That's how I
he
feel. I think he accomplished so many things. He was almost champ, UFC champ. We did one of the best fight ever in the
yeah.
UFC. Was Bellator champion, and I think when he came in PFL, he was not as passionate as before, and I think he didn't uh, necessarily was not there 100%. And I understand. I mean, he started fighting at 16, and
Yeah.
me, I started fighting at 21, and I'm tired.
Mhm.
So, and we have the same age, so it's understandable. But I do feel GSP, Jean, and Rory are up there, and I think I'm up there with them. Don't get me wrong, and but I think there is a lot of other fighters. Think about Pat Cote, David Loiseau, uh, Carlos Newton. Those guys are up there too. It's just tough for me to say who's
Yeah.
the first. But well, the first is pretty easy to be
Yeah.
honest, to say who it is. But after that, like I don't mind being the last of those guys.
Yeah. Like we call it the Mount Rushmore in the United States. I don't know if you guys have anything like that in Canada, but I would definitely put you in the Mount Rushmore of Canadian MMA fighters.
But well, that's nice of you. That's really nice of you.
Hmm. But if you win this one, I don't know if you come back for a third or if you come back in a few years after a long vacation, you might be able to pass Rory. I'd have to look at the resumes. I'm really thinking of this off the top of my head. He did win a Bellator title. He almost won one in the UFC. But still, you got to look at him. Remember, I told you this once before. I feel like these are title defenses. I know it's a brand new season and playoff, but I almost feel like once you won it, they're almost like title defenses. And title defenses is what kind of separates the good from the great, the great from the legends and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'd love to take on that homework assignment to look at one day. But first things first, Klay Collard on Friday, November 24th. We'll definitely be looking at it. Can you confirm? Is this the main event?
Bro, I don't know.
That's what it looks like on Tapology, but sometimes they'll switch it around.
Yeah. I remember, bro. The first event of PFL in Las Vegas, this year, it
Mhm.
was like so weird because people thought I was the main event, but the main event for some reason was like at 6 p.m. And so it's sometime with PFL, the communication is not the greatest.
Mm, mhm. All
So
right. Well,
maybe
we'll
they
see.
have to work a little bit on that. But from what I see on the website and on the card, I'm the main event.
You
Um,
deserve it. You're a defending champ, and Collard, like you said, is exciting. All right,
yeah.
man. We got to
And
run, but thank you, OAM. Always great to catch up with you, sir. Good luck, man. Good
th-
luck with the rest of your
thank you
camp,
so
your
much.
weight cut, everything. All right, take care.
Thank you
We'll
so
see you.
much.